guys, let's get into what you came here for, the markets. We got our game plan here on the chart. It's pretty easy. Nothing's changed. This is the Bitcoin weekly chart. All right, starting off with just price action. We are not seeing any dramatic advance through the low volume node. I talked about this. I talked about this consistently last week. We are in the low volume node right now. We know that price does one of two things in low volume nodes because there's not a lot of liquidity there. And price, the goal of price, the way order books work, the way centralized matching order book exchanges work, their only function is to make people happy. Their job is to match willing buyers with willing sellers. And to do that in mass, they have to drive price towards liquidity. It's just a natural dynamic. Price will go to liquidity. And this is extremely important on futures markets. This is less of a consideration on spot or DeFi because those dynamics do not exist. But when we're talking about futures, which is a massive part of the cryptocurrency markets, especially Bitcoin, we do need to take this liquidity searching behavior into effect. This is a fundamental aspect of the market that we're trading. And if you don't understand this, you are going to be far behind those who do. All right. So we know that price has no real incentive to consolidate for a long period of time at this $52,000, $53,000 mark. All right. We're not seeing liquidity really ramp up in this area yet. Okay. So we are expecting the break of 53,000. If price can break 53,000, we are expecting price to accelerate to 57, 58 very, very quickly. So we are fundamentally, big picture, staying long. All right. While there is a lot of potential profit in catching a top, you never want to counter trade the dominant trend, the dominant narrative, and cryptocurrency bull markets. You're generally just better off if you disable the red button. Yes, there are juicy shorts. Yes, it's awesome if you catch those 50% moves or those things. But we all have this PTSD from, the bear markets and price going up high. And most people's first cycle, they tend to buy a lot towards the cycle top. And then they have to ride the bear market down. And then that's where most of them quit. Most of them don't come back to the second cycle. But in the second cycle, they don't make those mistakes. They learn, oh crap, I got to buy high, buy low, sell high. But we all have this PTSD. We all want to kind of catch these tops. And that's really not Ron Legato, shout outs to you, my friend. That's not really the method for success. It's not the secret sauce. It's not the winning strategy. All right. Again, don't get me wrong. There are highly optimized short strategy traders out there who will make absolute killings, millions, tens of millions of dollars shorting these movements. But in general, 99.9% of the time, that's not you. That's not you watching this show. You are a retail trader. You are going to benefit from just trading a good retail strategy and following best retail practices, which is go long. All right. Buy dips, go long, disable the red button on your chart. All right. On your trading interface. So we are expecting to see either a big reversal from 52.53. If that does occur, again, a pullback to 48, 47 is very likely. If we do get the kind of horrific pre-halving dump, then we are going to be talking about Bitcoin back to like 35,000 to 30,000, potentially even the high 20,000s. That's an absolute possibility because we've seen that in most previous cycles. We get the pre-halving rally, we get the pre-halving dump, which usually is punctuated with a kind of capitulation event towards mid to late March. And then the halving occurs in April and it's up, 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 up. But of course, as we draw nearer to the halving, the likelihood of price just continuing on upwards does, of course, become greater. So we're either going to get a big rejection from 52.53. Of course, first stop's going to be that 48,000, 47,500 level that we talked about. That's that critical short-term weekly support. But if we blast through, we're going to hit 57.58 very quickly. So for that reason, my genuine recommendation for the majority of traders is to stay long. If you are slightly more sophisticated, as I have been pointing out, I do not think futures are the right way to trade these short movements or these price declines if you are a retail trader. The correct way to do that is with options, either on-chain or centralized. Of course, Deribit is the best potential option, but most of us do not have access to trade on Deribit. But Ivy is 56%. All right, Ivy is 56%. And I have shown this chart many times. This is a very important chart to understand Bitcoin. And this is the BVIV. This is the Bitcoin Volatility Index. BitMEX provides this, or this is from Volmax or whatever. But anyway, this is just good. This is saying 58.27%. You can kind of cross-reference this. It's a little off from Deribit's. Deribit's IV is 56%. Of course, this might change depending on what expiration date you go out to. But again, what this just says is that, this is cheap options. These are expensive options. All right. Because we can see that Bitcoin has spent a lot of time in low volatility. It's spent good time in mid, and it typically reverses quite strongly from high volatility. All right. Again, this isn't directly related to price, but with the cost of options. So all that to say that options are relatively cheap. So buying options, you can purchase that downside protection. You can hedge your portfolio. You can hedge your long swing trades. Not rock bottom cheap, but relatively inexpensive. And again, as good market wisdom has been conveyed to me, you hedge when you can, not when you must. Because if you wait to hedge when you must, IV is typically skyrocketed, and you're going to pay out the nose for it. So right now, you can pick up downside protection pretty cheap. Follow along with Arthur Hayes. Remember, Arthur Hayes had publicly said that he was buying puts towards the end of $35,000 strike price, which I don't think is the right way to go. If you're going to buy downside protection, then you just buy at the money puts. You know, don't, again, you don't set yourself up for success buying the $35,000 strike. Yeah, I mean, listen, March 29th, $35,000 strike. You can pick these positions up for 80 bucks. All right, 80 bucks. But the option of hitting these is so low, right? All right, that's my thoughts on that. Sorry. So BTC weekly, either 57, 58 very quickly, or we're going to reject from here 47.5. So again, I recommend staying long. Again, daily time frame, we can see this with a little bit more granularity. We are starting to get our warning signs flashing. We are getting into overbought territory. Minx is obviously overbought. It's kind of giving us this first warning signal right here. We do see volume declining while price is moving sideways. This is totally fine. Vol is coming down. We're not getting yet a breakout in either direction. Would expect liquidity to probably be hunted to the downside, which actually just happened right now. We'll talk about that a little bit when we get into the lower time frame chart. But again, we do see here that on the daily time frame, Bitcoin is getting hot. But here's the thing, guys. Here's the thing. If you want to do this, feel free to do this analysis on your chart, right? Because as traders, as I talked about already, we kind of have this PTSD, and we kind of have this tendency to want to short tops, all right? And this is certainly one of my biggest deficiencies as a trader, is wanting to short tops. And sometimes that's great, but in a very bullish environment, you're picking up pennies in front of a steamroller, and you're best to just focus on the long side of the trade. So we don't really want to be focusing on that per se. And here's the thing: get a chart. This is a challenge for you guys. If you really want to get over your fear of buying into bullish things, because often we see price on an asset be up very high, and we're like, I don't want to get into that. I want to wait for a pullback. And sometimes that's fine. But we have to understand the environment that we're in. So if you go put the RSI on Bitcoin, all right, and go study the last 14 times that Bitcoin's RSI got over 80, all right, daily time frame. And what you will see is that the last 13 times that the RSI was over 80 on Bitcoin on the daily time frame, 10 days later, on average, Bitcoin was up 17%. All right, 13 out of those 14 times. 12 out of those 14 times, price was up an average of 25% 20 days later. All right. And 13 out of those 14 times, price was up 19% on average 30 days later. And 12 out of those 14 times, price was up 54% on average 60 days later. All right. So being afraid of an overbought RSI has not been a very effective strategy. All right. Shorting overbought conditions in Bitcoin has not been an effective strategy. Now, of course, a lot of people are making a lot of commotion about kind of the supply side dynamics in Bitcoin with regards to the ETF. All right. So miners are producing about a little over $300 million worth of Bitcoin per day, with Bitcoin at 50,000. And we have to understand that the ETFs are experiencing $2 billion plus in net inflows. All right. And of course, these are physical spot Bitcoin ETFs. So they have to actually custody the BTC, or their custodian does, excuse me. So when these ETFs experience inflows, they do have to buy spot Bitcoin. All right. And these inflows are increasing. All right. Last week, we saw $2.27 billion of net inflows into the Bitcoin ETFs, as compared to just a little over $1 billion the week prior to that. So those flows are accelerating. And that is kind of accelerating everything that's going on. Plus, we have a shortened week this week, of course, with Monday being President's Day today. So the traditional markets aren't actually open. So we only have 4 out of 5 trading days. So that's going to kind of accelerate the volume, I think, of the net inflows into the ETFs. All right. So we have less Bitcoin being produced on a daily basis than is being pulled off of the markets by these Bitcoin ETFs. So we do have this big buying, this big buying bull in the room. All right. So we can't discount that. The macro, the fundamentals, everything is kind of pointing up to So that's about all I'll say about the daily time frame here. Not too much. On the hourly, what could we expect today? All right, well, we did just miss a pretty juicy long opportunity. I'm not going to lie. I have updated our liquidation levels for the day. And so for the day, again, Bitcoin's trading at about 52,182. I'm expecting one of two things. We did this movement that we just experienced right here did crash through a lot of liquidations, right? So we've had this pullback now to the hourly 55 exponential moving average. We do see our moving averages converging, all right, which is confirming the range that we're in right now, okay? It's confirming the range that we're in right now. So guys, we're back to Bitcoin ranging, all right? So here's the trading strategy for ranging markets, all right? We fade breakouts and breakdowns, all right? So basically, anytime price comes into a liquidation zone, a good liquidation zone, we're gonna bid that, all right? And we're gonna take price up to the opposing liquidation zone or to the mid-range if you wanna be a little bit more conservative. So anyways, we're looking for price around 52,600. That's our overhead liquidation zone. Again, if we are able to successfully break through 53,000, we'll have cleared all liquidations. And I firmly believe that we're going to 57 quick, fast, and in a hurry. But until we actually close above 53,000, we are going to be basically shorting or, fading breakouts here, even though we really shouldn't. And we do want to be longing any dips into our, we do want to be longing dips into our liquidation zone. So currently we just came down and tapped our liquidation zone and we reversed away from it quite powerfully. We're up 0.65% on the hourly candle. So very strong move away. I was actually contemplating longing this, but that's all right. So right now, as far as the daily goes, not too much to do, I don't think, for BTC. Again, we're in the middle of the range, so not optimum to really take a directional trade in any direction. We want to wait until the odds are in our favor and we have a better optimum entry zone, and that is going to happen by fading the breakout to the upside here above 52,600. Or it's going to be fading the breakdown here around the $51,500 zone. All right, so we're looking for longs here, and we're looking for potentially shorts here. But I'll probably just be a little bit more excited about watching for that breakout now that this consolidation has gone on for a couple of days. All right. Now that this consolidation has gone on for a couple of days. All right. Let's Ethereum here. Quite similarly, we're in that same low volume node, really looking for that break above 3,050. If that break above 3,050 comes, I think that we will be moving up to the $3,600, $3,700 range, quick, fast, and in a hurry. So again, just staying long on Ethereum, really not much to talk about here. Again, we see that same dynamic with RSI getting into overbought territory, indicating strength. Ethereum on the daily does continue to climb through this low volume node. So all is well, all is good. Volatility did peak, pulling back just a little bit. But again, nothing is overall concerning here on the daily time frame for Ethereum. Ethereum on the hourly, I have not actually updated our liquidation zones. So let's do that right now. And of course, if you guys aren't aware how I get this information, I get it for free from coinglass.com every single day. And so can you. And let me tell you, if you're trading futures and you don't know where the liquidations are, you are trading at a disadvantage, because essentially I have done this every single day, put these levels on my chart, right? Not like support and resistance, this, that. No. I want to see the level 2 data. I want to see where the liquidations are. Directly from the exchanges, because price just goes to these levels. That's all it does. This is what moves futures markets, guys. Liquidity. This tells you where the liquidity is at, and it's for free on CoinGlass. All right. Anyway, so we just drove into a liquidation zone to the upside here for Ethereum. So we can see that our liquidations really start at 28.87 and they go down to 28.43. So let's update that. There is our liquidation zone to the downside. Yeah, so we've got 29.48 to 29.64, 48 to 60. All right, so there's our liquidation zones. Pretty clearly defined here. Let's take a gander. Yeah, so actually volatility actually dropped down to critical levels here, and now we're getting that expansion. So listen, guys, this is pretty exciting. We might be getting breakouts to the upside here. Looking at Ethereum on the hourly, we might actually be getting that breakout to the upside today. So that's actually exciting. Again, we did just drive into liquidations to the upside, so let's just be patient. Again, we want to get a nice confirmed breakout, and then we'll go pretty ludicrous long. And until then, let's just get our strategy on here that we're going to be trading. We do not have a long signal yet. What is flat? What is the long trade the strategy took? Went long here and exited here. All right. Kind of unfortunate that we didn't get any position here, but hey, whatever. Fairdesk copy trade pairs. And so we'll go through the majors here and see what we got going Solana on the daily, again, holding the uptrend, has not been able to make a new high yet. Very critical. We do need to break above 116,721 for Solana to really make any progress right now. I would actually probably, just looking at Solana, I do kind of expect it to pull back a little bit. It needs to make some progress. Again, we're holding the uptrend, so we can stay long on Solana. Notice also that volatility is getting crushed, so we are probably going to be getting a pretty big decisive move out of Solana here pretty soon. So again, I would probably just continue to stay long on Solana unless we see the entire altcoin market like slip and tremble, then we can take profit kind of en masse. But, you know, overall, I wouldn't discount Solana. Yeah, Solana's still strong, still a huge part of my portfolio. Everything's fine. So we're good. You know, again, I think Solana has good support down to $91. We don't really want to lose. I mean, $89 is probably where we see price reverse. If we did sell off from here down to $89, it'd be about 20% correction, which would be totally fine. So that's fine. Yeah, we're just in this upper consolidation area, looking for breakouts above 116, 117. And worst case scenario, pullbacks to about $89, $90. All right. But again, we've got a lot of support here. So hopefully all will be good. Arbitrum, very similarly, holding the 21 exponential moving average, holding the uptrend. Everything is relatively good here. Again, we can see volatility getting dropped here. So we're probably gearing up for a big move. Be watching for breakouts right now above $2.18 is kind of the breakout level for Arbitrum. And mark that on the chart. And then of course, kind of worst case scenario pullbacks are going to be back to $1.60. But you know, we've got a very nice support. Look at this. We were consolidating at this lower range on the 55, broke up. Support and resistance retest. So I'd really like to see $1.90 hold on Arbitrum moving forward. Optimism again looks good. Continuing the uptrend. All right, RSI is trending up nicely. Again, volatility is coming down, so we are probably getting ready for a good move, but optimism certainly looks a little bit more bullish than everything else. Sui, again, nice uptrend. We're getting a little bit of a pullback now here on Sui. Notice that on all these previous pullbacks, we didn't quite come down to the 21 exponential moving average. If we did get any kind of a flush out, I would be expecting price to dip down into this low volume node territory, which you can see price has wicked into a little bit, but we're going to have demand there, all well and good. And this would also hold that support resistance flip. So again, I think any dips down to around $1.65 on Sui are to be bought up most likely right now. If we do close the daily below $1.65, then we're probably looking at a pullback more like $1.36. So again, pretty relatively tight invalidation. I would not be going long on Sui right now. You can continue to hold long positions. Absolutely fine. No problem. It's been trending up very nicely. And just watch. This is going to be your next aggressive re-entry zone right here. These dips down to like $1.65. But if we lose $1.65, you probably don't want to be catching a falling knife, and you just probably want to move Sui out of your watch list for a while. At least trading to the long side. Chainlink sideways consolidation. Volatility is getting crushed right here, and we do have this pretty deep low volume node down below us. So again, Chainlink links good. I'd probably look for dip buys down at 18,724 if you want to be aggressive, because we do need to kind of hold this uptrend because we just broke out of this range, and we were holding this range for quite a while. So again, we did back test. SR flip this. So let's just hold this forward progress. I would continue to hold long on Link. That's absolutely fine. Breakouts above $20.36. I'd look for aggressive pullbacks to 1872. And then just hold long. That's fine. BNB doing pretty well. Got a nice pullback here. Kind of at the bottom. Yeah, we do have this big low volume node down below us. So I probably, if you wanted to be super aggressive, you could get BNB right now on this aggressive pullback. Looking for everything to go probably more conservative pullback like 330. But yeah, we can just hold BNB long. There's nothing wrong with that. Matic, continue to hold long. You know, we're looking to trend up. We, of course, have not broken out of this range. RSI is close to getting overbought. So if actually, you know what? Listen, you probably want to trim profits here on Matic, right? We've been trading in this range for quite a while. This is a nice movement to the upside here. I would still trim profits. I would probably still trim profits on Matic because we haven't been able to break out of this consolidation range right now. Looking for breakouts above $1.05. Looking for breakouts above $1.05, and we just want to see this 200 EMA hold. Ape USDT. Ape is looking to try and break above its 200 daily moving average as well with an overbought RSI. Volatility is almost peaked, so we could hold Ape long just in case we go full parabolic here. But yeah, hold Ape in case we go full parabolic here, but, you know, probably run into some resistance here and maybe get a little bit of pull back to as well as highly possible. XRP. I'd say XRP looks like a fantastic. XRP looks really fantastic here. All right. I mean, this is, I think, probably just a very logical place to pick up XRP because we're very close to our support and point of control. Basically, this is the peak of these previous rallies over here, and we've turned that into support. All right. So life's good. We do have some pretty stiff resistance around 63 cents, but XRP here makes incredible sense to pick up. I think that, yeah, hold on. I got to open my notes. Of all things to probably trade, probably XRP is XRP. Makes a lot of sense here for me. All right, Aptos. Aptos, nice uptrend here as well, obviously. Kind of the same thing, just like stuck in this consolidation range that we've been in for a while and unable to make significant forward progress. Again, nice uptrend. We can hold Aptos long. Absolutely nothing needs to change. Life's all good. Cardano, very interesting. Moving back up all the way to the top of the range. Probably want to trim profits here on the swing trade if you bought down here around the 200 EMA support. Again, RSI getting close to being overbought. So yeah, trimming profits here. Of course, holding a little bit for the moon bag if we do break out, but probably pull back down here to about 53 cents. It's very likely. Dogecoin finally starting to move, guys. Of course, we are long on Dogecoin, as you guys can see. So here is this low volume node that we talked about. We're bursting right through it. I think we will continue to burst right through it. Next kind of hangout zone, high volume node is going to be around 9 to 10 cents. And then we'll just kind of continue holding long. We're holding Dogecoin long up to 10 cents, like 10.5 cents. So life's all good. Polkadot. Unfortunately, Polkadot does not look fantastic, right? I don't know. It's not really lower high. We did get this nice bounce off the 200 EMA, but lower high, lower high, lower high. Yeah, unfortunately. Maybe Polkadot can continue up to $8.46, but I don't got much to say about Polkadot. I don't know what to say. Uni had this little campaign. We've pumped back up. Failure to make a higher high so far. We could probably short Uni right here. This is fine. I don't think the fundamentals are necessarily stronger than price action right here on Uniswap. Yeah, so I'd probably short Uniswap. Pretty tight validation. We're not going to talk about Bitcoin Cash. Who cares? Filecoin. Congratulations to those holding Filecoin today. What can I say? Nice big candle. Probably take some profits right here, guys, if you're holding Filecoin for the swing trade. Axie Infinity. Boo. Maker. Doing good. Probably trim some profits, but hold that moon bag to see if we do get the breakout on Maker. Ethereum Classic. Blah. YFI. Blah. I mean, maybe worth a shot taking along on YFI. We've had this nice pullback reset to the 200 exponential moving average. I mean, that seems to make a lot of sense. Actually, YFI actually looks kind of attractive here. It may be just too early, though. I don't know. Phantom looking pretty good, actually, right? Holding the nice uptrend. Bullish moving average crossover, of course, held the 200 on the pullback. We have this low volume node now. So interesting. Phantom is either going to, so we can see Phantom wicked up into this low volume node. All right. So we're either going to chew through this low volume node and run up 15% to 50 cents really, really, really quickly on Phantom, or we're dead. Or we're dead. And I just hang out here back in this consolidation zone. So I would continue to hold Phantom long. I think Phantom looks really good. See if we can get up 50 cents. Didex, I don't think it looks great, honestly. EOS looks pretty good, but I don't like trading EOS, whatever. VeChain, absolutely incredible move to the upside here. We can continue to hold long. But volatility is pretty peaked here as well. I mean, big parabolic move to the upside. What kind of pullback we expect to see? And maybe a pullback here to about 3.8 cents. But you can also just continue to hold long and hold that moon bag. Sand USDT, I would hold long. Sand looks good. Mana, I would hold long. Mask, I would continue to hold long. Lido, no comment. Conflux. Conflux here is pretty interesting. Very interesting that we've had this rally up and volatility just got crushed. So I'd probably be expecting a reversal here on Conflux, but at the same time, my heart tells me to just hold long. So. And finally, Neo. I don't really have a strong opinion on Neo right now. Lower high, lower high, lower high. Not looking super fantastic. All right. Okay, so that is going to be our market summary for the morning. You know, summarizing that, what's the kind of key concepts here? Again, just holding long in general, right? Holding long in general. Everything looks pretty good. There were a few things that looked weaker that we can kind of expect beta performance from, but overall, life's good. As far as Bitcoin goes, of course, what's the strategy for today? The strategy is to kind of chill. We're in the middle of the range at the time of recording right now. So we'll be looking for drives down to 51,400 to 500 to see if we can scoop up those longs. And very similar kind of game plan on Ethereum. Probably smarter to short Ethereum here, but since we're so close to the breakout zone, if we get the breakout on Ethereum, then we should probably gig along every alt that we can get our hands on. All right, that's really the thing, right? If we can just go, if Ethereum breaks above 3,000, we should probably just gig along every alt out there. All right, probably just gig along every alt out there. And until then, just chill, right? Just chill. All right, chill. All right, we're holding Bitcoin long, we're holding Dogecoin long in the copy trade account. And I do want to seriously, I want to take a closer look a little bit later at that XRP. Of all the coins we looked at, XRP seemed to make the most sense to me from a risk to reward to kind of take that swing long position on XRP. I quite like it.